Hello class. So this is our first video lesson for ITMS02, and for this lecture we'll be covering linear equation in two variables. This is an introduction to the fundamentals of linear algebra. At the end of this lesson, it is expected you'll be able to review the basic concepts involved in linear algebra, including the Cartesian coordinate system, the graphs of linear equations, and how to analytically solve for linear equations. Okay, let's proceed. The Cartesian coordinate system. I would like you to focus on the highlighted words on this part of the presentation, which include the horizontal axis, or the x-axis as we call it, the vertical axis or the y-axis, the origin, the quadrants, and the ordered pair. Let's proceed to the next slide in order for you to better visualize what are these. So ito ang Cartesian coordinate system. Itong mga naka-Roman numerals, these are your quadrants. Ang pag-name sa mga quadrants natin ay counterclockwise manner. So the one here, itong pinakauna natin, it's on the upper rightmost section of our Cartesian coordinate is quadrant 1, is quadrant 2, and nasa ilalim quadrant 3, then quadrant 4. Okay, itong previous slide, ang sabi natin, ang naka-horizontal axis is what we call the x-axis, and the one na nakatayo or naka-vertical ang orientation is your y-axis. And the point where these two lines meet is what we call the origin. This one, ito. And these lines are perpendicular with each other. So, ibig sabihin, pag sinabing perpendicular, right angle. Okay? 90 degrees. If you notice, meron tayong dalawang point na nakaplot sa ating Cartesian coordinate system. Ito yung 3, 1 at yung negative 1, negative 1. Itong dalawang to, or itong isang point, say itong 3, 1, this is what you call our unordered pair. Okay? Yung first number will represent the value na nasa x-axis, and the second number is the one na nagre-represent ng number or ng value sa y-axis. Okay. So, ang paraan ng pagsulat ng ordered pair natin ay laging in the form of x, y. Okay? Ayan. So, basically, that's the Cartesian coordinate system. So, anong significance ng Cartesian coordinate system sa discussion na to? Well, gagamitin natin to para makapag-graph, para ma-visualize natin yung mga itsura ng ating linear equations. Okay? Ayan. Let's proceed to the next slide. So, linear equations in two variables. Okay. Kailan ba nagiging linear equation in two variables? So, we have a standard form for the linear equation. Ax plus by equals c. Ayan. Take note that A, B, and C are constants. Ibig sabihin, these are numbers, numerical coefficients. And that A and B cannot be both 0. Kasi pag nag-0 yan, ang matitira lang sa atin ay itong C. Okay? So, essentially, parang 0 equals C. Yung magiging labas. Kung parehas 0 yung ating A and B. Okay? So, in this case, hindi na siya linear equation. And take note that x and y are variables. Okay? These are unknown values. Okay? So, illustration, nasa ilalim. So, we have the following equations or linear equations in two variables. So, 1, itong x plus y equals 5, to x minus y equals 4, to x minus y equals negative 3, 3x plus 2y equals 12. Panglima, 5x equals negative 15. This is a linear equation in two variables. How? Yung variable na present, which is x, no? Y here is what we call a free variable. kumbaga it can take any value of y to make this equation to be true. We'll illustrate that later. So, alam na natin yung basic idea ng linear equations in two variables. Of course, yung mga equations na pinakita natin kanina, halimbawa sa itong x plus y equals 5, there is what we call a solution of an equation. When we say solution, this is an ordered pair of real numbers. Ordered pair of real numbers na makakasatisfy sa equation. When we say makakasatisfy, yun yung makakapagbigay ng sagot. Say halimbawa, anong value ng x at anong value ng y ang makakapagbigay ng sagot na kapag pinag-add mo ay 5. Yun yung sinasabing masasatisfy yung equation. So, in this case, halimbawa, pwede natin sabihin ng value ng x ay 2. If we consider the value of x as 2, ano dapat yung y? In order for us to get an answer of 5, it should be 3. Okay? Kasi 2, this is your x, right? Then this is your y. If x is 2 and y equals 3, 2 plus 3 will give you an answer of 5. Basically, ganun yung concept. Another, ito, yung 3x minus 2y equals 6. This one right here. Okay? So, ang sabi, ang solution set daw, or ang solution natin for this specific, or for this certain linear equation is 4, 3 daw. Let's try. So, if we substitute the value of 4 right here, dun sa x, and tong 3 dito, this is your y, right? Papasok nyo dyan. So, that will give you 3 times 4 minus 2 times 3. Okay? And ang sagot, 12 minus 6 will give you 6. So, sinasatisfy ba ng ordered pair na 4, 3 ang ating equation? Yes, kasi tumugma sa sagot na 6. So, that's how it is. Okay? So, yun yung sinasabi nating solution. Now, there's another term right here na ang sabi, solution set. Pag sinabi kasi nating solution set, marami na yan. It's a set of solution, no? All solutions ng equation. Kasi ang isang linear equation ay hindi lang naman iisa ang sagot. Marami yan. Then, paano ba natin nalalaman kung ano yung solution set na yan? Ma-visualize para malaman natin kung gaano ba karami. Makikita natin yan sa graph ng linear equation. And that graph is considered its solution set. So, marami tayong forms ng linear equations. Yung kanina, which is our ax plus by equals c, this is the standard form. We can also rewrite it into its slope-intercept form. The one we're familiar with, lalo na dun sa mga, dun sa mga nakakaalala pa ng kanilang algebra, right? When we say slope-intercept form, ito yung may y equals mx plus b. Okay? So, this one, ito yung representation natin in terms of the variables, the constants a, b, and c. Okay? So, makukuha natin yan, pwede natin i-derive yan when a and b are not equal to 0. Okay? So, simple lang naman yan. Kinuha lang yung nagmultiply lang sila ng 1 over b on both sides of the equation in order to get this form ng equation natin. Yung negative a over b natin right here is our m. Ano nga ulit ang m? This is our slope. Then yung term na c over b, this is what we call the c over b. Ito yung nire-represent ng b, small letter b na term dito sa part ng equation na to. And this is what we call our y-intercept. Okay? Kaya siya tinawag na slope-intercept form because our equation or the form of the equation contains a slope and an intercept. In this case, y-intercept siya. Ang sabi dito, if a equals 0, meaning itong part ng term na to is 0, okay? And b is not equal to 0, then the graph is a horizontal line. So, ito, y equals c over b. Ito yung magiging ating equation ng line. And if a is not equal to 0 and b equals 0, so in this case, ang magiging 0 na yung term natin na may b, and ang graph na nun ay vertical line. Kapag x yung natirang variable sa atin, yung variable na y ay na 0, ang natirang variable ay x, we will have a vertical line na graph. Okay, so balikan lang natin yung ito, yung may free variable, yung pinakadulo. So, going back dun sa pag-define natin or mathematical definition ng vertical line. So, yung may natirang variable x, that's an equation representing a vertical line. So, dito, si 5x equals negative 15. Ang equation nito ay vertical line. Okay. So, if we try to simplify this one, ang magiging sagot natin dyan ay, di ba 5x equals negative 15, then x becomes negative 3. Because if we try to multiply 1/5 on both sides of the equation, ito yung lalabas. Okay, x equals negative 3. So, if we try to graph that sa ating Cartesian coordinate system, say this is your origin, 0.00 yan. This is your negative 1, negative 2, negative 3. So, dito, dahil vertical yan, so patayo, ang gagawin natin, ayan, vertical line. Vertical line. Yan yung graph. Now, kaya naging free variable ang y natin kasi kahit anong value ng y dito, kahit anong maging value ng ating y dito, kung ano man yung value ng tatamaan dito, kung ano man yung value na tatamaan niya rito, kung ano man itong mga value na to, or even this one. Okay? Iisa lang din ang magiging sagot natin. And it will always be true. Our value of x will always be negative 3, no matter what the value of y is. Kaya naging free variable yung ating y. And yet, totoo pa rin na ang equation to or itong graph na to shows us a linear equation in two variables. So previously, nabanggit natin para makita mo ang solution set ng isang linear equation, kailangan mo siyang i-graph. And saan mo siya i-graph? Sa ating Cartesian coordinate system. Okay? Doon natin makikita yung extent or yung kung gaano karami or kung gaano para ma-visualize natin yung solution set ng ating linear equation. So, take note, dahil linear equation siya, ang ating graph ay laging straight line. And from our geometry, nalaman natin na kailangan lang nating mag-identify ng dalawang points in order for us to generate a line. Dalawang points lang. So, ibig sabihin, dalawang ordered pairs lang. Kahit dalawang ordered pairs lang ang ma-determine or ma-identify natin, kayang-kaya na rin nating ma-graph yung linear equation natin. Paano ba tayo nag-graph? We have different ways of graphing linear equations. One is to determine 2 points. We can use the intercepts, x and y intercepts. Another is by using the slope and the y-intercept. And then, lastly, is defining a point and the slope. So, iisa-isahin natin to sa ating mga susunod na slides. Puro examples na tayo sa part na to. So, draw the graph of the following linear equations. We have 4 right here. Okay. So, itong 4 na to, papakita natin kung paano i-carry out. Okay, or i-execute. So, unahin na natin yung unang example. Unang given natin, which is x plus y equals 5. We will be using the technique na determining 2 points in a solution. So, paano kayo magde-determine? Normally, when we use this solution or this technique, we assign an arbitrary value of x. Pag sinabi natin arbitrary, anything, any value. Pwedeng 0, it can be any number. It can be a positive or negative number, and including 0. Then, we try to evaluate or we try to solve for the value of y right after. So in this case, say if we consider the value of x to be 2, negative 2 rather, so we try to substitute this value of x, no, sa ating main equation. So yung x natin, papalitan natin ng negative 2. Negative 2 plus y equals 5. Then, manipulation in the formula or in the equation, we will end up with the value of y equals 7. Y equals 7. That's why meron tayong sagot na y equals na 7 right here sa baba ng negative 2. This means that if x is negative 2, we will get a value of y which is 7. Okay. And another, syempre dahil 2 points nga, so meron ka ng 1 point. This is one ordered pair. This is one ordered pair. You need to identify another in order for us to graph x plus y equals 5. So if we consider the value of x to be 2, by doing some manipulation sa ating formula, if na-substitute yung value of x dito sa ating equation, we will end up a value of 3 for y when x equals 2. Dahil meron na tayong dalawang ordered pairs, we can already visualize or pwede na nating ma-graph yung ating equation na x plus y equals 5. So, yung dalawang ordered pairs natin, yung negative 2 and 7, tapos yung 2 and 3. So, ito yung ating Cartesian coordinate system. Paano tayo magpa-plot? Ayan. Unahin na natin yung negative 2 at 7. Ayan. So, hahanapin nyo kung saan yung point ng intersection ng negative 2. So, ito yung negative 2 natin. Ito yung y, right? Ayan. Negative 2. Then, yung 7. Ayan. Kaya ito yung point niya. Then, we have the next ordered pair, 2, 3. So, pag i-graph natin or plinot natin, ang tawag sa paraan or ang tawag natin kapag we're trying to identify sa ating Cartesian coordinate system yung isang ordered pair is plotting. Plotting the point. So, yung 2, 3, ito na siya. This is our second ordered pair na 2, 3. Then, i-join lang yan. Since meron na tayong dalawang points, i-connect lang natin yan. So, we'll have this graph. So, basically, that is the graph of our equation x plus y equals 5. Take note that this is a line, ha? Kaya meron tayong arrowheads on both ends of the lines is because extending yan in both sides. On both sides, extending yan. So, continuous yan. So, lahat ng madadaanan, lahat ng points na pwede nyo ma-identify within the line, yan ay mga solution. This is what you call the solution. And pag pinagsama-sama mo lahat yan, solution set yan. Okay. Another example. Yan. So, for our second example, 2x minus y equals 4. So, for this equation or for this example, we'll be using the two intercepts, yung method ng two intercepts. You have to understand muna kung ano yung difference ng x-intercept sa y-intercept. Okay? So, ang x-intercept natin tells where the graph crosses the x-axis. Kaya nga x-intercept. Kung saan sa x-axis natin, dadaan yung line. While the y-intercept, it determines where the graph intersects the y-axis naman. Madali lang naman tandaan. Pag x-intercept, saan siya tatama sa x-axis? Pag y-intercept, saan tatama sa y-axis? So, paano ba natin masosolve itong x-intercept natin? Malalaman lang natin to if we set the value of y to be 0. Assign a value of 0 sa y natin, we will end up with the value of x na 2. And itong 2 na to, this is essentially your x-intercept. So, ang ini-imply niyan is an ordered pair 2, 0. Sinet mo na dahil, bakit siya 2, 0? Because sinet mo na ang value ng y natin ay 0. And upon solving, or upon performing the indicated operation, we ended up with a value of, or we ended up with a value of 2 for variable x. Okay, that's y, 2, 0. Now, if we solve for the y-intercept naman, isa-set natin na ang value ng x natin ay 0. Okay? Isa-set natin ang value ng x natin ay 0. So, in this case, in this equation, itong term na to ang mawawala. Ang matitira na lang sa atin ay yung negative y equals 4. Error lang. So, this should be, hindi to x this should be y. Okay? Y yan. So, dahil ang negative y equals 4 yung natira, we have to make sure na yung variable y natin will have a sign na positive. That's why, further simplification, we will get y equals negative 4. And essentially, itong value ng y na negative 4 is your y-intercept. Okay? So, similarly, ang ini-imply niyang point is 0, negative 4. Bakit 0, negative 4? Because we assume the value of x to be 0, and upon solving, we ended up with the value of negative 4 for variable y. So the graph of the equation 2x minus y equals 4 is this one. So yun yung dalawang ordered pair natin. Madali lang to i-plot kasi dahil 0 naman yung isa sa kanila, you just have to identify kung saang part or kung saan yung values na to. Halimbawa, if x equals 2, y equals 0, hanapin mo lang yung value na 2 dun sa x-axis. Ito sa pangalawang ordered pair natin, yung 0, negative 4. Dahil 0 si x, you just have to find nasaan si negative 4 sa ating y-axis. Okay? So, ganun lang siya kadaling hanapin or i-plot. Unahin na natin yung ordered pair 2, 0. Yan. So, that is your x-intercept right there. Then, yung pangalawa naman na ordered pair, 0, negative 4. Ayan. So, that's your y-intercept. Then, i-connecta lang. Okay? So, we'll have this graph. Ayan. So, that's the graph of 2x minus y equals 4. Next example. 2x minus y equals negative 3. So, we will transform this equation sa ating slope-intercept form. So, this is our third technique, no? In graphing linear equations into variables. So, yung una is yung determining 2 points. The other one is using the intercepts. Okay? So, ito, kailangan nating palabasin itong y equals mx plus b na to from this equation. So, kailangan nyo lang i-ayusin or i-manipulate ito para mapalabas natin yung equation or yung form na equation na y equals mx plus b. Ito yung magiging final na form. Y equals mx plus b. Ang m natin in this case, dito sa equation na to, it's 2. Yung b natin, it's positive 3. Ano nga ulit ang m natin? Ang m natin is our slope. Ang b natin is our y-intercept. Right? Y-intercept. Or sa part na to, meron ka ng isang point. Okay? And that is what? That is 0, positive 3. Why? Kasi nga, yung b natin is your y-intercept. And we learned previously kapag y-intercept, nakahanap natin yan if si value ng x natin ay 0. So, yun yung ini-imply ng ating y-intercept or yung positive 3 dito sa equation na y equals mx. Or dito sa equation na y equals 2x plus 3. Okay. And our slope, ang alternative definition ng ating slope is the change in y over the change in x. Or what we call the rise over run. So, punta natin yung graph mismo. So, using this information, itong ating slope and the y-intercept, pwede nating ma-graph yan. Okay? So, ang unang-unang ipa-plot nyo ay yung y-intercept. If ang form ng equation nyo ay yung y equals 2x plus 3 or yung y equals mx plus b, ang unang-unang ipa-plot dito ay yung inyong y-intercept. Okay. Dahil ang y-intercept natin ay 3, so that's why we have a point right here. Yan. Paano tayo magkakaroon ng ibang point? Paano tayo magkakaroon ng ibang ordered pair? Kasi isa lang to eh. No? Kailangan pa natin ng at least isa in order to generate a line. Correct? So, papaano? So, in this case, meron tayong from our slope. Sa slope natin malalaman kung ano yung another point na yan. So, in this case, by using our slope, ano nga ulit ang slope kanina? It is our rise over run. Rise over run. So, dahil ang value ng m natin or ng slope natin is 2, so, ibig sabihin meron tayong rise na 2 and run na 1. Kasi 2 divided by 1 will just give you 2, right? So, ibig sabihin ng rise na 2, you have to move along the y-axis by 2 units. Up or down. Okay? Depende yan. You can go up or you can go down. Okay? So, in this case, kaya tayo naka-arrive sa point na to is because yung rise na 2 units, we moved 2 units above the y-intercept. So, this is 1 unit, 2 units. Kaya 5. Kaya meron tayong 5 na value ng y. Okay? Then yung run. When we say run, you move along the x-axis to the left or to the right. Depende. Since yung run natin dito ay 1, it says you have to move 1 unit along the x-axis. Okay? So ito, dahil tayo ay, kumbaga, nagkaroon tayo ng positive na rise, we should also have a positive na run. When we say positive, you go to the right. Okay? Kapag positive run, you go to the right of the y-intercept. Kapag positive na rise, you go above the y-intercept. Okay? Ayan. So, dahil nag-positive rise tayo, we went above the y-intercept, kailangan nating mag-move or mag-run ng 1 unit to the right of the y-intercept. Okay? So, itong y-intercept natin, mag-move tayo 1 unit, 1. Ayan. That's why we have a value of x right here, nakapartner ni 5, na 1. Okay? So, 1, 5. Hence, we have this point na 1, 5. Then after that, pwede nyo nang i-connect. Or pwede rin namang point, which is negative 1, 1. Ganon din yung concept. Join nyo lang. Ganon pa rin. Diba? Hindi naman nagbago. Pinapakita lang dito na you have different or you have an alternative way, no, on how to graph using the slope-intercept form. Okay? So, if ipa-plot ulit natin yung isa pa, yung nakuha nating nauna, yung 1, 5, naglalay pa rin siya dun sa line. Ayan. For our last example, naka-slope-intercept form pa rin siya. Transform natin yung given equation to a slope-intercept form. However, in this case, hindi na natin gagamitin yung intercept or tong y-intercept. Hindi natin ipa-plot yung y-intercept. We just determined a point that will satisfy this equation. No? And in this case, ang point na nahanap natin na makakapag-satisfy sa equation ay itong point 6, negative 3. So, if we try to substitute the value of x with 6, we will end up with the value of y na negative 3. So, using this information and the slope, ang slope natin dito ay negative 3 over 2, right? It can mean two things sa slope kapag negative. It can be negative 3 over 2 or 3 over negative 2. Remember, di ba nga kanina, di ba? ang slope natin ay rise over run. Pwedeng ang rise natin ay -3 or pwedeng ang run natin ay -2. So, yun yung meaning ng negative na slope. Okay? So, from these information, itong ating slope and the given point, 6, -3, well, it's not given. It's an identified point, no? Just 6, -3, we can obtain another set ng ordered pairs. In this case, 8, -6, and 4, 0. So, pag rinaf natin yan, una natin yung una nating na-identify na point, which is yung 6, -3. Yan yung ating identified point. Pag plinat, ayan siya sa dulo. Ayan. Yan yung unang lumabas na point sa ating graph. So, paano ba nagkaroon ng 8, -6 dito na point or ordered pair? Okay? Ginamit natin yung value ng slope or m, which is -3/2. Dahil we have a value na -3 sa taas, which is your rise, we will have a negative rise. So, dahil negative rise yan, kailangan yung... So, paano ba tayo nagkaroon ng ordered pair na 8, -6? Same sense, kung paano natin ginawa yung previous na process sa previous na example. So, this one, ginamit natin dito yung slope na -3/2. So, ganito. -3, alam naman natin na itong -3 is your rise. So, itong value ng -3, in-add natin dun sa value ng y sa ating identified point na 6, -3. So, that will give you ang -3. When you add the -3, will give you -6. That's why we have -6 right there. And yung 2, alam naman natin yung 2 or yung denominator na 2 sa ating slope is our run. So, ibig sabihin, maia-add or maibabawas yan sa ating x value ng ating identified point, which is in this, ng ating identified value sa x-axis, which is in this case ay 6. So, if we try to add yung 2 sa 6 will give you 8 na value ng x. That's why we have an ordered pair 8, -6. Okay? Ayan. So, pag plinot natin yan, ayan siya. So, pag pinag-connecta natin yan, we'll end up with this graph. That is the graph of 3x plus 2y equals -12. Now, paano naman tayo nagkaroon ng point na or ordered pair na 4, 0? Similarly, in-add lang din natin yung values ng rise at run dun sa respective na x and y values ng ating identified point. Okay? So, yung positive 3 na rise value, in-add natin dun sa may y na value ng ating identified ordered pair, and yung -2, of course, dun sa y. Sa x, rather. Then, we'll end up with an ordered pair 4, 0. So, pag plinot natin yan, ayan siya. Kumbaga, well, essentially, that's your x-intercept, right? So, pag pinag-connecta, ayan. At pag plinot pa natin yung isa pang point, yung 8, -6, ayun, pasok sa banga. Okay. And this is our graph for the function or for the linear equation 3x plus 2y equals -12. So, meron kayo activity. Depende sa faculty in charge kung ano yung learning management platform na ginagamit. Yung iba may Google Classroom, yung iba may Edmodo, and kung ano man yung available pa or kung ano man yung ginagamit ninyong learning management platform. Doon nyo pwedeng makuha yung activity 1 ninyo, and please follow the instructions regarding the submission of your activity. Otherwise, your output will not be recorded. It is highly encouraged that you watch this video or supplement your or supplement this video with other materials kapag hindi nyo pa naintindihan, and in order for you to answer yung ating activity. So, uulitin lang, ang inyong activity 1 ay pwede nyo makuha sa respective na learning management platform na ginagamit ng faculty in charge ninyo, and follow the instructions regarding its submission. So we have reached the end of our lecture video. Thank you very much for listening, and please stand by for the next video lesson.